year's Scrapfive challenge. I'm showing you the challenge elements right there, the 5 things we're going to use. So we are going to use a cardstock background. So that is my cardstock. I'm just showing it to you right now. I got that at Dollar Tree, actually. It is basil cardstock, and it just has a really subtle buffalo check on it. So it's navy blue, and then it has black as the opposite color for the buffalo check. And my Dollar Tree actually carries a lot of basil cardstock and Bo Bunny, believe it or not. So I really liked this one. I only saw 2 pieces of it, or I probably would have grabbed more because I feel like it's super versatile. And if you didn't like the buffalo check, you can flip it over on the other side and it's just plain navy, which is also a really nice color of cardstock to have. So that's the first one. Then we have to use a stencil. Actually, I think the stencil is technically number 1, but use a stencil. And then we need to do different fonts for the title of our layout. And then there is to use 2 or more photos. And then the last one is to include stars or hearts or circles. And so here I'm incorporating my stencil with the stars. And so I'm just going to smush some texture paste through these stars and kind of, I knew I was going to add a lot of photos, so I just kind of did both the top and bottom corner there and figured that some of those stars at least will poke out from behind whatever I plan to do with all the pictures. So yeah, that is my stars. I love that stencil, but it got chewed by one of my cats, which that sounds really weird, but he just he chewed a couple of places, and so it doesn't sit properly anymore. So yeah, kind of sad. I don't use it as much as I should. I think it's a Stampin' Up! One. And I just kind of like how it starts out with the stars really concentrated and then they kind of scatter down. I think that's really pretty. And it's always a really clean stencil. Those 2 little dots that you kind of saw in the middle is just because I didn't let the one side dry before I flipped it over and did it on the other side. So now what I'm doing now that the stars have dried is I'm just adding a little bit of this gold glitter. It's Dollar Tree, really cheap kind of gold glitter, almost like a glitter glue, but in a paint squeeze bottle. And I just wanted a little touch of gold on some of the stars. I wasn't trying to make all of the stars look gold. This is just kind of my favorite method for adding glitter when I want a little bit of glitter, but I don't actually want to bring out a whole bottle of glitter. This is definitely a good alternative to that because it's kind of in that glue format. So it holds all the glitter together and you don't have a giant mess all over the place. I am definitely one of those people who on camera has spilled an entire jar of glitter, and yeah, it just, you never get rid of it all. Even when you vacuum it up, even when you use wipes and all of the magic tricks that everybody has, it was still there when we moved house. So I love the glitter glue kind of as my secret weapon when I want that little touch of glitter. So I went ahead and just put the stencil back over the stars, smushed some glitter through it, and then now that's sitting and drying, so I'm going to cut my pictures. So I figured 2 or more. The easy thing for me would be to do 2 because I'm kind of a 1 or a 2 picture scrapbooker anyways. So I wanted to challenge myself because it is the Scrapfive challenge. So I wanted to challenge myself to the more part of that particular item. So I went ahead and I have 6 photos. I think that's pretty good for me. I did cut them all down so that I could kind of fit them into the center of the layout, and I would still be able to have lots of space for some pattern papers and things like that. So that's what I was doing there. I was just kind of cutting them all. And these are our Santa photos from last year. So I picked 2 family photos and then one of each of the kids with Santa. And sorry that my camera is so dark. I'm really struggling for whatever reason now that it gets dark so early out. I'm really struggling to find the right balance for my camera and my ring light and then just like our general house lights. And I haven't found it yet. This still looks really, really dark. So I definitely apologize for that. But I think you can still see what I'm doing. So while it's drying and I have all of those pictures cut down, now I want to pull out a couple of different patterns. And last year, we all kind of followed the trend of the plaid shirts. And so all of us are wearing plaid, and that's sort of what I wanted to pull in. So obviously the background cardstock has plaid on it. And then I went through those little matting paper packs. That's what I'm going to call them because they don't really have a name. Those you will see in my November Christmas Dollar Tree haul. They're actually from Dollarama, but there were 3 different versions of it. So I got all 3 of them, and I was pulling a couple. Well, I guess I pulled out 2 sheets from there. One is that red plaid. The other is actually just, it's more green with teeny tiny little Christmas trees on it. So I thought that it kind of gave me a nice bold green color to kind of offset a lot of the patterns because I kind of envisioned pulling out a bunch of plaid. Oh, there's Arlo. Yep, he is in full kitten mode on my desk. So then I went into my Christmas stash and I remembered that I had this collection, which is I think it's Mad for Plaid from Photo Play. And it's basically just all plaid and just exactly the papers that I needed for this particular layout. So I get, not all of them are plaid. I shouldn't say that, but it's designed all around plaid. So there's plaid, in all these different little cut apart sheets and just in all these really fun places. And then there are lots of variations of plaid as the different sides of the paper. So I grabbed the candy cane stripe paper. I thought, again, that's kind of a fun pattern, but something a little bit different from the plaid. So if I need to break things up a little bit so that your eye can kind of have a rest and move around the page properly, I thought that one would work really well. And then I did grab this other plaid that you can see right there and a couple of the cut apart pieces. And then I just cut a couple of those little presents out. They were on the back of the cut apart sheet and they have a little bit of plaid in them. And so I think I'm all set. I also have the sticker sheet. I thought that I had the ephemera, but I may have actually put it into my big iris container of Christmas ephemera. Maybe I used up enough of it that I felt like I could just put the last few pieces that are left over into that iris container because it wasn't with the paper. So that's okay. I didn't really need it. With 6 photos, you definitely take up a lot of real estate on your layout. So I knew I probably wasn't going to have a ton of embellishments. But here you can see I sort of just plopped the papers down and they looked okay. The layers kind of worked. And so I went with it. There wasn't really any plan for how I wanted to put the layers in the background or how I might want to design this page. So I was really just going with the flow here. And yeah, I actually have to say that I really love navy as the background. It's different. It just gives it something a little bit different. It still obviously screams Christmas. Santa's literally in the pictures and in all of my embellishments, and all my other colors are green and red and white. So it screams Christmas, but I kind of like the look of the navy blue instead of picking maybe a white background or a green or red background or even a black background. So yeah, I thought that was really fun. And then the stars just give this really cool texture and that little bit of glitter, and they kind of direct your eye because the pictures, the way that I put them together, it is super busy. I feel like whenever you have multiple pictures with people in it, especially if you have lots of people in the photos, that they're automatically just a really busy kind of, place that your eye naturally wants to go to, but then it has all this information it's trying to take in. And so having the stars in the two corners really kind of gives your eye a place to go and just rest for a second. And I feel like you want to read this layout kind of corner to corner and then maybe catch the two little side embellishments that I'm doing here. So on the one side, I have the Santa, he's standing up. That's from the cut apart sheet. I had debated whether I should actually cut him out, like fussy cut him out. And then I didn't, but that's the kind of thing that I might go back and just do. Once you cut, you kind of have to commit to it, right? So I wasn't too sure, but I feel like it doesn't balance well with the other side. So it's still on my mind to go back and fussy cut that Santa out. And then the Santa on the right hand side came from the sticker sheet. And I also added the stars that were in the sticker sheet. Some of them have plaid on them and some of them are just solid, but I thought that was a really good kind of mix as well. I added the word joy from a Dollar Tree sticker page or sticker sheet, or maybe it was Dollarama sticker sheet that I had, because it is written with some plaid in it and it brings a little bit of gold. And I thought, since I have the gold glitter on the stars, that I needed a few other elements of gold just to kind of make it all make sense and tie it in together. So it has some gold. And I have a little deer head that's in the red and black buffalo check. And it's a chipboard piece from the same kind of collection as the Dollarama one, and some little presents because they also have the gold in them over on the left hand side there. And then with these little presents that I fussy cut out, I'm turning them into little stars, or at least I kind of thought they were like little stars. I could have just taken them as squares and tucked them in and made a few little layers kind of around my embellishments, but I thought it would be fun to layer them this way, and then they do kind of have that look of stars, and so that follows the challenge items. So I think I can check them all off at this point. I added my title, which just says A Visit with Santa, and I used 2 different fonts for that. So that is the multiple font item checked off. I have multiple pictures. I have my cardstock background. I used a stencil, and I have stars all over. In the red thickers that I used, there were also some stars in there. So I popped those into my embellishment clusters as well. So each one has 3 stars. Then it has some sort of sticker and one of my little present stars, I guess you could say. And now I have this little red and black buffalo check heart. It's one of the first things that I pulled out. I actually don't think it came from a Christmas collection. I think it came from the Canadian photo play collection that they have, the kind of Travel Canada collection that they have. But I really liked it. And so I backed it with some green because I just couldn't find the right place for it where I felt like it stood out enough. So I backed it with some green and I popped it right there in the title, right at the top of the title, because that's where I wanted to put it. I thought it looked good there. So that's where it ended up. And now I will finish off with a scattering of some Heidi Swapp Color Shine in gold. I'm literally down to the last dregs in that poor bottle, but I'm going to get as much out of it as I possibly can. And that is all of my elements checked off. So another successful challenge. I think I had so much fun putting this together and, kind of playing with all the different elements, figuring out how to get my pictures into place. So I love how it turned out. I love that it's a little bit different, and that's exactly what this challenge is all about. So definitely join in, play along if you want. You can use hashtag Scrapfive to post your photos of your layout and let us know how it goes. And that is it for me today. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please go and check out the links below so you can see everybody else joining in on the challenge today. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.
Bye. Thanks to me. To my channel.